Hi everyone, welcome back to my workshop, and this time I'm bringing you one of my workhorse rifles that I use almost all the time. This is the Archwick Mk13mod7 spring-powered airsoft rifle. Like most of these other airsoft reviewers, this is a replica. This is not a real firearm. There are no real firearms in any of the videos that I will make. I'm not here for ad money. I'm just kind of here because I like doing these kinds of videos. So all that out of the way, let's get on to this rifle. So this rifle came to me in 2020. It was kind of like my COVID purchase, just kind of sitting there. I came from this rifle from the Desert Tech SRS, and I love that rifle, but for me I had the covert version, and I kind of really like the aesthetic of a long, full-sized sniper rifle. This one definitely fits that bill. The thing that I find interesting about this rifle is it almost feels to me like Archwick has completely left it on the wayside. They've completely moved on to the B&T system that they're working with now, and in some ways I kind of wish that they had already had all of that dual magazine system that they have now with the B&T in this rifle. It seems like this rifle was the stepping stone to get to that rifle, and once they got there they decided that this was no longer of interest to them, so they kind of moved on. But for me, I've really been a fan of Accuracy International rifles. That was actually one of the first rifles I've owned in airsoft, was actually the Ares MCM, like the Arctic Warfare version that they made for the AW338 rifle, which was awesome. I love that rifle. I always regret getting rid of it, but now I have this one, and it's been very well for me to use. So this rifle has a lot of really cool features. Stock, all of the internals are all steel, so generally speaking you won't have to upgrade anything. I went a different route. I got the Sniper Works trigger pack. I got the weighted piston in there. So there are parts in here that you don't really have to upgrade. Like, I think that the hop-up chamber in here is one of the best hop-up chambers I've ever used. And I've used pretty much everything. I've used VSR, I've used the APS-2, I've used like the Ares systems, the TX system, but this system, I have a maple leaf rubber in here, and it is easily overhopping like the .46 BBs and up, like to the point where there's almost no hop applied, and I'm still slinging them out really, really far, which is very, very, very like exceptional. Like, I like the way that this rifle performs, and I hope that it comes through in the video. So let's start from the front and we'll work our way back. So this is the actual Archwick suppressor specifically for this rifle. It's the SF style. It's not trademarked or anything, but this one is a foam-filled suppressor, and it does actually deaden the sound quite a bit. It's quickly removable with the SF style flash hider underneath. I won't be doing that for the video, but yeah, it's a great suppressor. It's not my favorite. Like, I do like the PTS ones a little bit better. I think their sound deadening ability is a little bit better than this one, but it is what it is. The outer barrel here, it's a silver outer barrel, so being, you know, the sneaky sniper type, silver doesn't really, in my opinion, work. So I took that, it's almost like a medical cling wrap in multicam, and I wrapped the entire barrel into the front handguard here, so that it kind of hides that shiny silver color. I know it's like on the real rifle, that's the way it is, but for me, you know, I didn't really want to paint this. I wanted to keep it as clean as I could, and yeah, I didn't actually paint it, so all of the camouflage that you see on here, this is actually the Gunskins vinyl wrap, and kind of in a sense that this is kind of a review of that product as well, for like how well it held up. Like, I applied that at the beginning of 2022-ish, and other than a couple like scrapes and stuff, the finish is still held up really well, and it works for me. The front handguard, you would think that it was key mod, but that isn't the case here. Key mod attachments won't actually fit into these slots as you would expect, and that's specifically because when Archwick designed this product, They went to that level of detail, and this is actually Accuracy International's key slot system. So a lot of the key mod style attachments won't work in this instance, but the nice thing is they actually do give you the these two side rails, this top rail and the bipod mount, all of which can be removed if you really want to go for that more slick look. But it is very nice, and the bipod swivels here, they actually do include the QD holes for slings if you'd like. And I don't technically use slings most of the time, so that they just kind of sit there unused. I do have a couple QD cups in there for the looks of it. There is some really nice branding. It actually says right here on the receiver, it says Accuracy International. And it's good that way. But that right here is actually where a lot of the contention came when this rifle was first announced. For the magazine actually hides underneath the front handguard here. And a lot of people, they complained about where it was, but for me, I don't find I've ever used 50 rounds in a single engagement. Most of the time I'm lying low, I'm keeping my profile as small as I can, and I'm only taking shots when I know that I'm not going to be spotted. So most of the time I'm generally not firing enough to need to facilitate reloading. So there's that. The upper receiver here, it's on the other side, it is trademarked. It says Mark 13 in 300 Win Mag. Of course, this is Airsoft, so it's 6mm. Not 300 Win Mag, but the nice details, they've modeled it down to the smallest details here, where you actually do get the fluted bolt. This is a steel bolt cylinder, and inside, in the standard version, you do get a 90-degree piston. But I found there's issues with that piston where it didn't actually hold the air seal down at all, so I ended up upgrading it to the Sniper Works weighted piston, which is great. It has the air brake, it's very quiet, and it has that weighted feel. Going to the pistol grip, it is a very comfortable pistol grip. You do not really have too much to worry about there, but the color matching, that was one of the things that I've seen in other reviews. It really is awesome how well they color matched the tan of the receiver to the polymer components that cover the rest of the chassis system. It is polymer from here to the back, but that doesn't mean that it is all polymer. Underneath of these polymer components, there's still an aluminum chassis that goes from the front all the way to the back. So it is a very rigid rifle, and I never really had to worry about any issues with it coming to pieces. The magazine, it's just a showy magazine. I've seen a lot of people use these to store their hop-up adjustment tools. I generally use a cheek pad on the stock here, and that holds all my adjustment tools. It holds all of the Allen wrenches that you need to take this thing apart. So it's kind of like an all-in-one package. A lot of those tools actually do come with the rifle, so there's that. Some of the, and then going to the stock, you do have a cheek riser here, which is adjustable up and down, and you do have removable sections here in the butt area of the rifle, where it's capped off with an Accuracy International embroidered, really comfortable rubber shoulder pad, and all of that kind of sums up how the rifle kind of comes together to be this awesome, rock solid VSR-10 platform. One of the there's a couple of the downsides. Mainly they had to do with the stock gearbox that it came with for the trigger system. Yes, it was steel, but parts like the safety, and this is a common thing that happened for a couple of videos that I've seen where this rifle was involved, basically every single one of them, the safety broke. And yes, it was a steel part, but just however it was put together, it was very brittle, and just like theirs, mine broke almost immediately, which is no longer a problem because I now have the Springer Works V2 piston or trigger set inside of this rifle. And that about covers the externals. It is a great performing rifle. It shoots like a laser, and with the upgrades that I have in it now, it is very, very quiet. Unfortunately, I'm going to be trying to save the shooting stuff maybe for another video later on down, just in case, because I've seen a lot of things recently where people's videos are being taken down for whatever reason, and I kind of want to make sure that this information gets out to you guys. So if you guys have any questions about this rifle, make sure that you guys send them in the comments below. And in the next portion of the video, we're going to be having this rifle taken apart. Fortunately, you can't show that on camera anymore, so the next scene you're going to see is going to be just the rifle in pieces. So we're going to move on to that, and then we're going to come back to my final thoughts. Alright, so unfortunately I had an issue where the camera wouldn't focus properly when I actually had this rifle completely torn down. So I don't have that footage of all of the parts as they were on the table. So going over some of the stuff that I went over with that, I went over the steel cylinder, the steel bolt, and the Springer Works version 9.2 trigger, which is a great trigger, along with the Wasp piston system that I currently have in this rifle. One of the parts that you won't get to see, unfortunately, is the one-piece aluminum hop-up unit. Again, I say this is probably one of the best hop-up units I've ever used, so take that with a grain of salt. That is actually a product that you can still buy on their website, so if you do have a VSR 10, that would be a very good upgrade that I would recommend. So what I can show you is the original, this is the original trigger. It is a 90-degree trigger. It's fairly nice. The one thing that you can see here is on the top, this is the broken safety latch. So that is one of the parts. It is all steel, like the actual frame of the trigger is steel, the trigger steel, the broken safety is steel, and the actual release here, the sear, is also steel. Again, with this part here, the part that connects to or through to your cylinder, this is also another steel component. So it is something that you will have to replace if you do end up keeping this part. The last two parts that I have from the inside of the Archwick rifle is the stock piston. It is a ported piston on the front, which I find doesn't seal pretty much at all. There was zero air seal inside the cylinder, which led me to wanting to switch it out for the Wasp, which was a great upgrade. And the last part here, this is the steel spring guide. It is a 19mm spring guide so that all of your PDI type springs will work. Other than that, there isn't a whole lot else to talk about on the inside of the Archwick rifle, so I hope that this little overview is good enough. I'm sorry that the original full takedown of this rifle didn't come through, but this is about as good as I can do with what I have at the moment. So hopefully this gives you a bit of a sneak peek over here for some of the other rifles that I do have. This will probably be the next one that I do a review on, maybe followed by this guy once I get some trigger time. So hopefully you guys are going to stick around for that. And now back to my final thoughts. Alright, so now that the rifle's back together again, it's time to go over my final thoughts. When this rifle came out, it was quite expensive. I'm pretty sure when I purchased it, it was close to $1,000 Canadian, which is fairly high end for basically a spring rifle. But for me, it's more about the type of rifle that it is more than the cost of it. Like, I've been a collector of Airsoft since like 2011, and so I kind of find myself leaning towards those cooler designs that you won't really find in the normal play space, which was one of the big draws for me. I took the suppressor off between takes to show you guys the SF style flash hider there, and it is a ratcheting style suppressor, so it just kind of it's back on, nice and easy. So for your average player, this rifle might be a little bit too pricey for them, and I can definitely understand that. If I was just getting in, I wouldn't recommend this rifle as a base. There are much cheaper rifles to get as a base that you guys can just hop right into the game and just start playing. But if you are a collector, or if you are looking for something that is different, this rifle definitely would be one of the ones I would recommend. Unfortunately though, as far as I've seen, I'm not sure if Archwick's going to be doing another run of these rifles as it is. It seems like when you're on their website, they don't even have the rifle listed on their store. Well, they have like the rifle on their webpage, but like if you go to the shop, there aren't any actual Mark 13s anywhere on their website anymore. It seems like they've completely switched over to the B&T system, which is a bit cheaper, which is a bonus, and it does have the dual magazine system, which I would love to get my hands on at some point. Again, so if you like this video, make sure you send a like, write a comment down below, and tell me if there's something that you'd like to see me do a review on next. Again, I have quite the collection of rifles right now that I'm kind of like a backlog that I'd like to get through to show you guys. So over the next little while, I'm hoping I can get out there and put out a couple more of these videos in the next little while. So stay tuned to the channel, and hopefully you guys will appreciate what I have to offer. This rifle was purchased at Andy's Airsoft. Again, a great manufacturer, so make sure you head over to their website. They're a Canadian retailer out of Prince Edward Island, and highly recommended. They're great people. So if you have any questions about rifles, make sure to shoot them a question on Facebook or on Instagram. They will reply to you with the information that you need, and they can get you guys some rifles that you might otherwise find to be quite challenging. So kudos to them, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.